right, this is the Big Kid Show. I'm your host, Mark, and with me, I've got Big Nick. I've got Mr. B. Thank you for joining us for another exciting day here in the Sandbox, as we have a follow-up to one of our most popular episodes. That's right, today, it's Fight Night, boys. It's Versus Mode. Boom.
I'm looking at you, sucker.
Looking at you. So for those new to us, in this format, we will be taking a list of items based around a central topic and then pitting these items against each other in a one-on-one battle showdown royale. We will present each of these one-on-one battles and we'll vote real time on who we think the true winner should be. We know the topic ahead of time, but not the matchups, except for me. And also, we don't know how each of us will vote during these showdowns, so it's all going to get decided real time as we go through. You get to find out just like us as we argue for our favorites. If you haven't already, please be sure, give us a like, subscribe, give us a rating, drop us a review, tell a friend, tell your dog, tell your cat, come one, come all. We always appreciate the support. All right, so let's get to the topic, boys. Picture this. Imagine you're at the grocery store. You told yourself, I'm only eating healthy this week. You shop the produce section, you fill your cart, you're feeling good. You successfully shop only the perimeter of the store. You check out. Man, you walk out, the lettuce is slightly hanging out of the bag. You're like, this is going to be a healthy week. This is the week we turn it around. Then you start to walk out to the entrance. There they are. Oh. The sweet Girl Scouts with their mountain of mouth-watering cookies.
Look away.
You try to avoid eye contact, but it's no use. You are powerless against them and their mighty cookies. You think, hey, I'm just supporting a good cause. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, you wake up at 2 a.m. on your couch with cookie crumbles on your shirt, an empty cookie box on the coffee table, and shame in your heart. That's how it happened, guys. It happens in the blink of an eye. It's unbelievable. If you haven't guessed it, that's right. It's all about Girl Scout cookies today. We're taking the top 8 flavors and having a showdown to determine which cookie comes out on top. So grab your glass of milk and get ready to chow down on some good old Girl Scout cookie fights. So boys, for the first showdown tonight, we will be pitting Thin Mints versus Adventurefuls. So, Mr. B, I'm going to have you kick things off for us. Thin Mints versus Adventurefuls. How are you feeling about this?
Well, I got to think Thin Mints got to be a top seed because they are a staple and classic.
They are. This is the classic, like, remember old school March Madness, 16 seed Gonzaga versus
versus Kentucky. Here we go.
Exactly.
And the Adventurefuls, I believe, are a newer cookie, right?
They are.
So
yep.
I don't know when they were first introduced, but the Adventureful, quite delicious.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Thin Mint, hard to beat. Especially if I'm going to have a Thin Mint, I like to put my Thin Mints in the freezer.
Oh, I think that's the only way to eat them.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
so I'm just
honestly,
making sure it's not just me.
No.
So, as much as both are delicious, I'm just going to go straight up Thin Mints for the win.
Straight up Thin Mints.
It's crisp, chocolatey, and minty and delicious and refreshing. You don't even have to brush your teeth after it.
You feel like you just did. Big Nick, let's say you.
Well, I think Mr. B is absolutely right. The Thin Mints are certainly one of the bigger, better, well-known cookies from the old Girl Scout troops out there. It's one of the 3 that I think of immediately when somebody says Girl Scout cookies. The Adventurefuls, I believe, are the swingers couples cookie of choice.
Actually, that's how they market them.
Yeah. And
I wonder why there's a swing on the box.
While going up against one of the blue chippers, the Thin Mints, Adventurefuls, bit of a dark horse, my friends.
Indeed.
And why is that horse so dark? Because that horse is made of brownie, caramel, and a hint of sea salt. That's right. This thing's got everything that a brownie turned into a cookie, like in cookie form, with the little bit of icing on top and the caramel flavored cream and the hint of sea salt. Big Nick's putting in a vote for Adventurefuls.
Oh, the upset.
I see. Even before we hit record, I thought Big Nick was going to go Thin Mints all the way down the line. So, all right.
Interesting. All right.
I love chocolate. I love mint. I didn't see these two being paired up in the first round.
Yeah.
For me, these are two of my favorites. So Adventurefuls gets the vote. I had them for the first time this year. Love them, baby.
And just a heads up, if you go to Big Nick's house, he has cases of boxes of Girl Scout
Yes.
cookies.
Yes.
Like even when I walked in, I was like, dude, you might have a problem.
I'm pretty sure when he bought them from the Girl Scouts, they were like, "Are you trying to resell these? You're buying them in bulk. I'm like, what's happening?"
I'll take everything you got.
I'll take all the cases. I'm going to back my car up to the front of the grocery store.
I think globally and buy locally.
Yep,
There you
exactly.
There you go. Well, I am going to vehemently disagree with both of you guys. I must have got a bad box. So, Big Nick, I'm with you. Like, it sounds delicious, like the brownie and the caramel and the sea salt and all those things. Like, that's everything I want in a cookie. The one that I had tasted like chemicals. So I don't know if the Girl Scout
You
troop
got
that I
drugged, buddy.
Yeah. I don't know if the Girl Scout troop I got mine from like dipped it in ammonia before they sold the thing. I don't know.
Was that why you passed out on your couch immediately?
I'm pretty sure.
Mark got
You got roofied.
Mark got his at a swingers party.
Are you sure it said Girl Scout cookies on the box?
I don't, Schmerl Scouts cookies. I don't know. It was not good though. Like I couldn't even finish one cookie. And
oh wow, that bad.
it was that bad. And honestly, like I think the texture threw me off too. Like I expected like the caramel to be kind of soft and maybe the brownie to be a little bit chewy. And they're both kind of crunchy.
Yeah, you're spot on with that.
So that was a little weird for me.
Yeah, that part is.
But I guess if you don't have your heart set on that, maybe it doesn't bother you as much, you know. But they are a super high seller. Like when I look at the sales, I mean they're one of the top sellers. But I got to go Thin Mints. And again, caveat: Thin Mints in the freezer, as Mr. B pointed out. Because those were the two boxes that we got first this year was Thin Mints and Adventurefuls. And I tried the first Thin Mint and I was like, "Bleh." And I threw it in the freezer and it was fantastic.
You go Thin Mints in the freezer. How about Adventurefuls in the microwave? Pop them in there just a little bit.
See, that might be the way to go. You soften it up a little, like just for like 5 or 6 seconds. Give it a little boom.
Does that get rid of ammonia? I don't know.
Yeah, you might have just got a bum batch or something, bud.
Nick's like, you better microwave that for about 17 minutes. Let all those microwaves hit the.
Big Nick's like, I like the chemicals. Let me know I'm alive.
Tastes good.
I'm using those chemicals to fight off the other toxins.
Yeah. One kills the other. It's good for you.
Oh, man. All right, boys. Well, Thin Mints takes it on that one, 2-1 decision. It's all right. So we're off and running. So let's get it kicked off on our next batch. The next batch, a little bit of a name controversy here, which I don't completely understand. Maybe our viewers can fill me in on what happened here. But the Caramel Delights, the artist formerly known as Samoas. And we are going to have that square off against Lemonades. So that's our matchup, boys. We've got Lemonades versus Samoas or Caramel Delights, whatever you're calling it. Which is the odd thing to me is they still have both names on the website. So it's like they didn't fully commit to the name change.
Well, and Big Nick and I just maybe a couple of weeks ago, we were out and someone had a box sitting out and this box said Samoa's on the box. Like we were actually looking at it like, wait, yeah. So I don't know if it was an older box or what, but I mean, this was literally just like 3 weeks ago that we saw a box and we were looking at it like almost like we almost stole it from this person just so we could research it, but we didn't do it.
I can tell you why this is happening. Okay. So from my understanding, a lot of the names of these cookies those names are owned and trademarked by the Girl Scouts. Samoa's is not a name that is owned and trademarked by the Girl Scouts. It's actually trademarked by a different company as is Tagalongs. So any of the ones that you see that have double names, they're going through a little transition period where they're trying to ease us in because we've called these cookies by the same name for so long that if they just immediately change the name, lose their allure, right?
Yeah.
And so they've worked out a deal with this Ferrero company that owns, I think it's called the Ferrero Group. They actually own some of these and trademarked some of these names years ago. My thought is that the Ferrero company was probably making these cookies for the Girl Scouts at some point, and who knows how that all went down. But it's capitalism, it's business at the end of the day, and so I think they're transitioning us into learning and then understanding and identifying these cookies down the road by their new names. And
Don't make me learn stuff.
They probably worked out some kind of deal like, hey, can we pay rent on the old names in the meantime?
Yeah.
Okay, well that would make more sense. Why we saw it on the
box now?
Yeah, and why we saw a box with it on there, because my wife brought home like an order form, and it didn't even say Samoa's on the order form at all.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of being like, all right, we are now the Washington football team Redskins.
Wait, what?
Like what? What? Like, are you changing the name or you're not changing the name? You're kind of using both. Are you hyphen? Yeah, doing the hyphen last name. So anyway, all right. So I probably should have done this for the other one, but I'll do this for the ones going out. Anybody who hasn't had these before, just a little bit of a descriptor. So the Caramel Delights and Samoa's crisp. This is from the girlscouts.org. Crisp cookies with caramel, coconut, and chocolatey stripes. And then the lemonades is savory, refreshing shortbread cookies topped with a tangy lemon-flavored icing. So that's our matchup, Big Nick. We're going to throw it your way this time first. What you got between those two?
Well, if I were building a football team, I would build it with a lot of Samoas because those dudes are fantastic at football.
Agreed.
They are some of the strongest. Like I think it's just in their DNA that they're like naturally strong people. Like and I love their hair. I love their attitudes. I love everything about them. So when my NFL football team or my collegiate football team gets a few of those Samoa boys on the team, I'm excited and get me one of their jerseys. However, pump the brakes a little bit, America.
Ooh, hold on.
And this is, I'm sorry to everybody out there. Big Nick, like I love there. It's hard for me to find a food that I don't like. I do not like coconut.
Yeah.
And so that unfortunately ruins it for me. Like
a deal breaker.
You had me at coconut. And that's right where you lost me. Like I love everything else on this cookie. I like the way it looks. It's a good looking cookie. I haven't had one since I was a child because of the coconut. I'm going and the flip of that is these lemonades are delicious. So I'm not picking lemonades simply by default because of the coconut. But unfortunately, the Caramel Delights, as they're now called, did not have much of a chance with Big Nick.
Yep, that's a determining factor. I mean, you can't have the Samoas and enjoy it unless you're into some coconut because there's quite a bit on there. Mr. B, what say you?
So, again, coconut being the one of you either love it or hate it. Mr. B loves the coconut.
Loves it.
And the Samoas are almost my go-to every time. If we're buying any, I want to make sure at least we're getting a box of those. Yeah. The lemonade ones are delicious. I agree. But to me, easy decision. We're going to go Samoas for the win.
We don't like the same kind of cookies, do we?
Hey, man. Hey, it's America, man.
That is
you
true.
Like whatever cookie
lucky.
you want.
We have a lot of cookies to choose from.
I was wondering why there was such a battle over who was going to buy the cookies for the break room. Now I'm starting to understand.
Well, that's why we bought all of them.
I'll order it. Don't worry about it. I got it. Don't worry.
$472 on cookies.
And then Nick took multiple cases home and put them in his living room.
Those are for the office, Nick. Just so you know that you're for the office. That's like stealing paper clips, buddy.
Do you steal pens from work too? All right. Well, I'm going to jump on board with one of you fellas. Which one will it be? It's going to be Mr. B. The Samoas to me are Big Nick. I'm actually with you. I was never a huge coconut. Like I never liked Mounds. Candy bars. I never liked what was the other one that was like Mound? Almond Joy. Yeah, never. Not really for me. But man, the Samoas with whatever that caramel crack they spread across it, and then the chocolatey lines just wipes out any negative of the coconut to me. And
I don't think they're super coconutty, if that's a word. I mean, there's a hint of it, but it's not
there's a lot, but it's not overpowering.
Yeah, like Mounds is all coconut. So I can see the difference in those. But.
For sure. So yeah, I think it's easy to go with Samoa's for me on this one, even though I'm a huge lemon guy. Like, little fun fact about me: every single year, like I share a birthday with my daughter, so she gets like the fancy, decorated cake. I'm like, just get me literally the Duncan Hines lemon cake. Every birthday, like that's all I want is the Dunkin', just the normal plain cake with the plain icing, but all lemon. So I'm a lemon guy, and the lemonades are good. That's how good the Samoas are. So that's what we're rolling with, boys. All right. We got 2 more matchups left before we move into round 2 and start to whittle this down. So next, we've got the peanut butter patties, the artist formerly known as tagalongs, and trefoil, the artist formerly known as shortbread. So, Mr. B, let's kick it back to you. You got peanut butter tagalongs or shortbread? We'll go with the old school names.
So, young Mr. B would have said tagalongs all day long.
Okay.
As I've gotten older, I've started to transition my flavors. And there's something about just a good shortbread cookie also just quite delicious. And I think maybe it's more of like, I'll sneak one in the morning when having a little coffee.
Oh, I never had one with coffee before. That's a good idea.
So, this is a tough battle to me. These are like the 5 and 6 seeds going against each other here. Ooh, if I have to have one for the win, and I guess the other thing is like also you have to think like, are you allowed to have just one? Because, like, to me, like the tagalongs, like I just want one of those. The trefoils, I'll eat a whole sleeve of those.
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I mean, I think about it this way: you've got 2 sleeves in front of you, and for the remainder of the sleeve, however long it takes you to eat it, you can only pick one of them.
True. You know what? I'm going to trust my gut. Go with, because that's where they're going when I eat them. I'm going to go trefoils.
Trefoils.
The Mr. B adult version cookie. The classy cookie.
See, I've dipped it in milk. It's nice you get a little milk that soaks into the shortbread.
Have a little coffee and then have a shortbread.
Yeah, with a little coffee inside. All right, Big Nick, I'm going to cut in front of you here. I'm going to do my choice because I'm going to disagree with Mr. B. I'm going to go with the tagalongs. The shortbread is good. Don't get me wrong. I do like the shortbread, and it actually has a good flavor for just a shortbread cookie. Probably one of the better shortbread cookies that's out there. But I love me some peanut butter, and you wrap that thing in chocolate with some crisp. Can't go wrong. It matches my favorite candy bar, Reese Cups. So I've got to go. I've got to go with the peanut butter, and we're going to go tagalongs, peanut butter patties. Big Nick, what do you say?
You have the decision.
Besides vehemently disagreeing about the Reese Cups being,
I know that the listeners will be excited to know that I was there 8 months ago when Mr. B chose the shortbread cookie over the tagalong and then immediately jumped out of his chair screaming, I'm an adult. And then I watched him read the first chapter in a book about investing money, and then he took a 45-minute nap afterwards. So I witnessed the whole transition from childhood to adulthood for Mr. B that
True
afternoon.
Story.
I was very impressed. I was surprised it took so long. That was just 8 months ago. But the trefoils, that's like the iconic one, right? Like it's got the profile picture of the girls on the actual cookie, right? The girl's face or woman's face, whatever.
Is that one of the original OG cookies?
I believe so. And that's one of the ones that pops in the old Big Nick brain when somebody says Girl Scout cookies.
It's actually, Big Nick, I hate to interrupt you. I hate to do this, but I forgot to do the short descriptions before you give your choice. Do you mind if I read those off just so the listeners?
If you think it's going to sway me, go ahead.
Trefoil's iconic shortbread cookies inspired by the original Girl Scout cookie recipe. Peanut butter patties, tagalongs, crispy cookies layered with peanut butter and covered with a chocolatey coating. That's all I got.
Yeah, that was both not great descriptions on their website.
Yeah, that's about it.
Now I understand why you cut me off.
Yes. Yes, I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't important.
Mark, my friend,
for
the first time today. And Mr. B, I'm sorry, unlike you, it's now been determined I am not an adult. I'm going to go with peanut butter patties, a.k.a. tagalongs. The artist formerly known as tagalongs.
It's actually pronounced tag-alongs.
Tag-alongs. Very nice. Very nice. I like it. All right, boys. We are moving along here. We've got one more matchup in round one before we move on to the next round. So, last options here. We've got Do-si-dos, which I'm pretty sure it's artist formerly known as Do-si-dos. Now they call it peanut butter sandwich.
Correct.
Crunchy oatmeal sandwich cookies with peanut butter filling. And then facing off against that, we have the Toffee-tastic, which is gluten-free, if you're into that. Rich, buttery cookies with sweet, crunchy toffee bits. So that is our final two selections here, boys. Big Nick, why don't you start us off and give us your decision, see how you're feeling about that matchup.
I don't know if people out there in listener land remember, but one of my favorite, probably my favorite Everybody Loves Raymond episodes was the Girl Scout cookie episode. I'm not going to go too far into it, but his daughter's selling Girl Scout cookies and it gets rather competitive. We'll just say that. Do-si-dos peanut butter sandwich versus Toffee-tastic. All right. I hate to do this because it sounds disingenuous. But I'm going to go with, and I do love the Do-si-dos. I'm going to go with Do-si-dos. It's a little bit out of default here because I've never had a Toffee-tastic. And I know the description. I understand the description. But for some reason, to me, it looks like a tiny little slice of what is that, fruit cake that old people would hand out to persons at Christmas time?
It does kind of look like that. I'll give you that.
And I've never liked fruit cake. So we've now discovered, out of the very few foods that Big Nick does not like, we've discussed two of them here in the treehouse today. So out of default, but backing that up with, I do enjoy a good Do-si-do. So Do-si-dos has my vote.
Plus Big Nick in middle school, excellent line and excellent square dancer, especially when they're like, now we Do-si-do. Big Nick could nail it every time.
That was my move.
That's how I got the ladies.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Do-si-dos down for Big Nick. Mr. B, what do you got?
So again, because now that Mr. B has Big Nick is described, I'm now a full-on adult. I love toffee now. Now, so again, as a kid, I would have went Do-si-do all day long. Like it wouldn't even have been a question. But now, no, I like rich, buttery cookies with a little toffee crunch. So I'm going to go Toffee-tastic. Even though they don't look the greatest, they taste delicious.
I'm getting you a fruitcake for Christmas, sir.
And I'll throw it at you.
With your old age, they'll fit right in your pocket, wrapped in a napkin.
Right, and they'll be right next to my Werther's Originals.
Exactly. And your individually packaged lifesavers.
Yes. You know my pockets too well, son.
That's right. Along with 4 cents of change in your coin purse. All right. So we've got one vote for Do-si-dos. We've got one vote for Toffee-tastic. This one's tough, man. I'm a toffee guy, like through and through. You guys know me. I'm already old man in my soul. But
guy in a toffee
world.
Life in toffee.
But this is where we have that clash of like peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
It is tasty. But here's going to be what sways my opinion. So we mentioned that they changed names and that Do-si-dos was potentially, now that you're saying this, Nick, it actually makes a little more sense. So this Do-si-dos peanut butter sandwich was the most recent box that I just purchased. So that little intro I gave, that literally happened to me like a week ago.
You got cornered, and they're like, buy some or we'll shank you.
So it was two things. So I had to stop by Kroger early in the day before work. Like I had dropped my kids off and had to pick up one quick thing at Kroger. And there was a Girl Scout there. And she's like, "Do you want some Girl Scout cookies?" And I'm like, "No, not today." And then literally, I got a young daughter. And immediately I saw her face. And as soon as I walked away, I felt like the biggest jackass in the entire world. Like, really, dude? I couldn't just give her $5, like, even if I didn't want the cookies. So I had to go back to Kroger again that night because I'd forgot to get one other thing that I needed. So when I went back the second time, there was a different set of Girl Scouts there. And I was like, you know what? I got to make up for, I got to get my karma rebalanced. I got to make up for it. So I ended up buying the peanut butter sandwich. And let me tell you, boys, I don't know what has happened with the new flavor, if it's a new company, but it doesn't taste the same.
And it probably goes back to what Big Nick was saying, is that I think that there might be some switch in who's making them. Yeah. Because I've noticed that with all of them, that there's a little bit different something.
Yeah. And like this one, so the Do-si-do used to be my number one. Like that was my absolute favorite. Wow. And it's not terrible. Like it's not, you know what I mean? It's not like the worst cookie I've ever had, but it's kind of like if you bit into a Snickers and you were like, what the hell? This doesn't taste like a Snickers. So for that reason, boys, I'm going old man toffee style. I'm going toffee-tastic. I know that was extremely long-winded. It's delicious. And it fits right in my pocket. So Toffee-tastic, boys, is going to take the win on this one. We've got 3 cookies that start with the letter T. Very interesting. Little fun fact there. All right, boys, that sets us off into round 2. We've got 4 challengers left in round 2. We've got Thin Mints, Samoas, Tagalongs, and Toffee-tastic. First matchup, we're going Thin Mints versus Samoas.
Oh, you're putting the top seeds against each other. Oh, that's buddy.
Right. They're getting right in there, right into each other. And then we're going to have a peanut butter and toffee battle in round, following that. So, Mr. B, why don't you tell us what you're feeling with Samoas and Thin Mints here?
So those two are always my top 2 cookies. So I was hoping this wouldn't happen until the finals, but I mean, if you said both of them out there and you said, Mr. B, you get one and you can only have one, I'm going for the Samoa.
Samoas.
Yeah. Again, love the Thin Mint, but if you said one, I only can pick one. They're right in front of me. Samoa it is. Put it down for Mr. B's championship choice of the week.
Mark it down. Mark it down, Donnie. All right. Big Nick, what say you?
I'm going to preface this by saying shout out to my boy Tua Tagovailoa. But got to go Thin Mints here, boys. Thin Mints.
Yeah, we already know Big Nick hates coconut.
That's right.
Yeah, I kind of saw that one coming. So no surprises there. So
no pressure.
This one is tough because I do love both of these. They're both delicious. I think the determining factor for me is that Thin Mints have a prerequisite. If I don't have a freezer nearby, they don't hold the water that the Samoas do. The Samoas, I can eat them melted. I can eat them in hot weather. I can eat them in cold weather. It doesn't matter. Samoas, boys. Samoa coming in with the win. That was that's how that first round is, or first part of round 2 is going to shake out.
Now, question though, Mark, if they were both sitting out and the Thin Mint was frozen and the Samoa's there, would you grab the Thin Mint?
I think I'm still going Samoas.
All right, they're
that good.
Hope.
I think Samoas are my number one. I think they bumped the peanut butter sandwich off the top rung.
They're the Kansas City Chiefs of the cookie world right now.
Yeah, they really are. It's a dynasty. It's a dynasty. Except they're not dating Taylor Swift. All right, so let's get into the next matchup here, boys. We've got Tagalongs versus Toffee-tastic. Big Nick, I'll kick things off with you, sir. Tagalongs versus Toffee-tastic.
I'm going to go Tagalongs all day and all night.
We knew that.
Tagalongs. Now we got to check Mr. B's pockets. Let's see what's hanging out next to those Werther originals now.
I ate all of them, but so just like with my pick before, again, I love both these. So it's like I'm trying to think of if they're both sitting in front of me, which one would I grab? And I think I'm still going to go Toffee-tastic. That's my pick. Because now I have an adult palate. I like to eat a cookie. Choice. Yeah, I like to do a crossword puzzle. And then Big Nick says I read an investment book, take a nap.
Yep.
And
maybe do a 1,000-piece puzzle.
And then also I like to watch Murder, She Wrote and then go to bed at 8:30.
Don't forget Golden Girls.
Pepsi is the choice of a new generation. Toffee-tastic is the choice of an old generation.
And Mr. B's generation.
Yeah.
I remember when milk cost a nickel.
84 years ago. All right, boys. So that leaves it down to me once again. Tagalongs versus Toffee-tastic. I got to go Tagalongs with this one. The peanut butter is just too much. We're going to leave the old man yells at cloud behind. He's going to get left in the dust. So, boys, we've got a very, very strong matchup here. These are definitely two powerhouses of the Girl Scout cookie world for our third and final round here. And that is going to be Samoa's versus Tagalongs. So, Mr. B, I'm going to have you start us off here once again. Tagalongs and Samoas. Can the Tagalongs wet your whistle a little bit and potentially upset the Samoas in your head? Should I read the description again?
No need, buddy. If you set them out in front of me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the Tagalong, or excuse me, I'm going to grab the Toffee-tastic, put it in my pocket.
Yeah, save that for later.
And then I'm going to pick the Samoa for the win.
Samoa for the win.
And they'll be like, sir, you can't have both. And I'll be like, you don't tell an old man what to do.
That's right. I start winging lifesavers at you.
Yeah, I served 4 years in Nam. So no, the Samoa to me was my top choice. I'm glad it made it to the finals. I'm picking it for the win. Samoa is the champion.
All right, boys. Big Nick, Tagalongs versus Samoas for the final round. What do you got for us?
We already know.
Yeah, we know.
It's Tagalongs versus Samoas.
Samoas, your favorites.
Okay, good. For a second there, I thought it was Samoa's versus Toffee-tastic. I was like, "Oh, I'm in a bad spot here." I'm in a bad spot.
Also, and now, Big Nick, what if you would like? I can scrape off the coconut for you, and then you might like it.
I
extract the caramel and then
I'll cut the crust off for you.
I've been staring at this picture, and I'm like, there is a part of me that wants to give him another shot, but
do it.
I'm so particular about the coconut. I do have a quick question for you, Mr. B, before I give my answer.
Shoot.
How did it feel? How did it feel to be present when the Bible was written?
Good, but hey, a lot of things got misinterpreted.
Oh, well, you'll have that. We'll save that for another show. That'll be
that's a separate episode.
Obviously, guys, I'm going to go with the tag-alongs here. Tag along.
Tagalongs. No surprise there. Tagalongs. All right. Man, all the pressure has been on me today, boys. But that's okay. I can handle the Girl Scout cookie.
You got wide shoulders.
That's right. I can handle the Girl Scout cookie pressure. So this is tough because these are definitely both in my top tier of Girl Scout cookies. The Tagalongs, again, like if they're a little melty, that's all right. You get a little bit of chocolate on your fingers. You got to clean off. You still get that nice peanut butter. It's kind of like a little bit of a Reese cup kind of vibe going on with those.
Hey, shit.
That's also
fingers.
why no one talks to Mark. They're like, "Is that chocolate on your fingers?" And you're like, "I don't know what it is."
I have no idea. I hope.
Hey, smell my fingers. And you're like, "Dude, I can't tell what is."
What up? Shit
Oh,
fingers?
those poor interns. All right, so
Is that chocolate?
it's even more confusing when you walk out of the bathroom. Like, did I just eat a cookie?
Keep Mark out of the studio. He keeps touching the microphone.
Did I just see a cookie coming out of the bathroom or something else?
Mark, you can take that microphone home with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that desk and everything else. Oh, man. Yeah. This is tough. So, yeah, I guess with the Samoas, I'm going to get a little bit of chocolate on my fingers, but it's not quite the same level. I think, boys, I'm going to have to go with my gut, as Mr. B well put it. That's where it's all ending up.
That's where it's going.
I got to go with Samoa's. Samoa's for the win, our all-time champion of the Girl Scout cookie competition.
I'm glad they made it. I was afraid you guys would shoot them down early. But
you got nervous when the Thin Mints went up. That was
well, yeah, because I was like, whoa, these are top seeds here battling. But
that was kind of like the NFL when you feel like the two best teams are playing in the AFC Championship game instead of the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, boys. So real quick, there's a couple, just so we don't have any angry listeners out there. There are a couple that got left off the list. So just want to give them a quick shout out, and then obviously give you guys a chance to mention if any of those are your favorites. There's only 3 of them, or 4 of them, so there's not much. We've got Caramel Chocolate Cookie, which is a chewy cookie with rich caramel, chocolate chips, and a hint of sea salt. You got the Girl Scout S'mores, which is crunchy graham cracker cookies with chocolate and marshmallow filling. I've not had that one, but it does sound
one of my
good.
favorites.
Is it?
That's a newer one too, right?
Yeah.
Right. But I tell you what, and I'm not a big marshmallow guy. Like I keep saying that I love all kinds of foods, and then I
shoot down a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But those, the s'mores, dunk those babies in a little bit of ice cold milk. Ooh, baby. Those are good.
I like it. We've got lemon ups, which I thought was going to be a little redundant with lemonades, but it's crispy lemon cookies baked with inspiring messages, which Big Nick reads every morning.
Yeah.
It's a nice pick me up.
I'm important. People like me.
I mean something. And then last, but definitely not least, and one of the ones I've heard is really delicious as well, that again, I've not personally tried, but Toast Yay, which is yummy toast-shaped cookies full of French toast flavor and dipped in delicious icing. So that one actually sounds pretty good.
Mr. B, I think you would love this one. This is another dunker. You want to dunk this baby too. That's French. That's the cinnamon toast crunch.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'll say that's what I thought. That's the one I've not had, so I'm glad we didn't put it on the list. I'm intrigued by that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, Mark, you did a great job picking the cookies because obviously we had to make it down to 8. So
it was tough.
So I'll give the Toast Yays a little taste there. Big Nick's giving me a little recommendation.
Absolutely. All right, boys. Well, that wraps us up. Big kids out there, if there's any Girl Scout cookies of past that you've tried that you feel like we should have mentioned on the show, definitely shout it out to us on social media. Come give us a follow. Come give us a rating. Check us out. Tell your friends. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Until next time, we are the Big Kid Show.
C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. Oh, cookie, starts with C. Hey, you know what? A round cookie with one bite out of it looks like a C. A round donut with one bite out of it also looks like a C. But it is not as good as a cookie. Or the moon sometimes looks like a C, but you can't eat that. So, C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. Yeah, C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. C is for cookie, that's good enough.